Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kudu Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha. Suti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Bhatyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste, Guruji. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. So we completed the 38th sloka in the last class. And I just recited the 39th sloka. We'll start from there. Atra natmanyahamiti matirbhandayeshosya pumsah prapto jnananjanana marana klesha sampata hetuho yenaivayam vapuridama satyamityatma buddhya pushyatयुक्षत्यवति vishayaistantubihi koshakridvat. We have to see the anvaya of this. Quite a long sloka. Atra anatmani aham iti matihi asya pumsaha yesha bandhaha ajnanat praptaha janana marana klesha sampata hetuhu yena yeva ayam idam asat vapuhu atma buddhya satyam iti koshakridvat tantubihi vishayaihi pushyati ukshati avati. This is the anvaya of the whole sloka. Atra, in this context, anatmani, in the anatma, aham iti matihi, the I sense, identification, self-identification with the anatma. I am asya pumsaha, for this person. Yeshaha, this. Yesha refers to the bondage. Bandhaha, bondage. Ajnanat, due to ignorance. Praptaha, is obtained. Janana marana klesha sampata hetuhu, and is the cause for falling into the afflictions of birth and death. Yena, by which, eva, alone, I am this jiva, idam, this asat, changing, vapuhu, body, atma buddhya, taking as the self, satyamiti as real, koshakridvat as a silkworm, which lays a trap for itself, tantubihi, with the threads, vishayaihi, with sense object, pushyati, nourishes, ukshati, annoyance, avati, protects. So in this context, the sense of I, or the I sense in the anatma, the not self, is the bondage for the person. And this is brought about due to ignorance, and that is the cause for falling into the afflictions of birth and death. Just as a silkworm lays a trap for itself with the threads which it weaves, the jiva, taking this changing body as real and as I, due to ignorance, nourishes it, anoints it, protects it. So after completing the answers to two questions, what is Anatma and what is Atma, now Shankaracharya enters into the third question. In fact, this is the first question. Ko nama bandha. What do you mean by human bondage? The word bandha is a sastric technical word. Therefore, it should have a shastric definition. Only if we know the definition of bandha or bondage, we can understand the significance of the word moksha. Otherwise, we will roughly translate moksha as what? Freedom, liberation, etc. without knowing freedom from what? Is it freedom from the body? Is it freedom from the family? Is it freedom from all diseases, including coronavirus? Therefore, the definition of moksha will be very clear when the definition of bandha or bondage is clear. And here we get the most wonderful classic shastric definition of bondage. And to understand this definition of bondage, the definition of the previous two topics, Anatma and Atma, is necessary. I am the Atma, the consciousness principle, and the body, mind, sense complex is Anatma, the inert principle. This understanding is very necessary. So these two words, Atma and Anatma, we should have understood very well to know the definition of bondage. So now, what is the definition of bondage? He says, Atra Anatmani Ahamiti Matihi. This body, mind, sense complex, this threefold body, or you can call it the Sarira Trayam. From the Shastric angle, he is called Anatma. Shastra tells us that the body is a costume. Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram are costumes. And I, who am eternal, all-pervading, I am the indweller, or I am behind the costume in the form of consciousness. This is my nature. This is who really I am. But instead of claiming I am the all-pervading consciousness, if I claim I am this finite, mortal, material body, which of course I am not, that false claim is called bondage. That misunderstood claim is called bondage. Body itself is not a bondage, mind you. Identification with the body is bondage. Deha abhimana is called bondage. And it is a clean intellectual problem. What is the intellectual problem? The intellect wrongly concluding that I am the body. Therefore, Acharya says, Atra Anatmani, in this intimate Anatma, we commit the mistake of identification with the body because the body is so intimate to us. Atra Anatmani. And of course, Anatma includes Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram, all these threefold bodies. Aham iti matihi, I am this body. And I think last class or before, somewhere when we were discussing about Karana Shariram, I mentioned that in the Shastric, from a Shastric angle, the Stula Shariram is called Vishwaha, and identified with the Sukshma Shariram, I am called Taijasaha, and identified with the Karana Shariram, I am called Prajnaha. So this Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, all three are false eyes, called Ahankara. The threefold false eyes, small eye, Anatma eye, or Ahankara, or Jivatma, is created by the intellect by its misconception. And therefore we call it Deha Abhimana. Just as an aside note, this Deha Abhimana, bodily identification, is twofold. The first one is called Samanya Abhimana, which is identification with the body, which is inborn because of Prarabdha. Because I am associated with the Karana Shariram and Sukshma Shariram, I am associated with Prarabdha Karma. And through Prarabdha Karma, I get association with the physical body. So the karma-based, Prarabdha karma-based Abhimana is universal, natural. I call it Samanya Abhimana. And because of that alone, whatever happens in this body, I am aware of. If this body has got hunger, I feel the hunger. If body has got pain, I feel the pain. Experience of all these biological conditions is because of Prarabdha. That is Samanya Abhimana. You can never avoid, even a Jnani cannot avoid the Samanya Abhimana. As long as the body is there, bodily feeling I cannot avoid. Even, as I said, I become a Jnani. This Deha Abhimana, Samanya Deha Abhimana, we cannot remove by Shastric study. And in Vedanta, actually, whenever we talk of Deha Abhimana, we refer to another type of Deha Abhimana, which is a conclusion, an intellectual conclusion that I am the body. And this second Deha Abhimana is unique to a human being. Animals have got only Samanya Abhimana. But human beings, because of their thinking faculty, they ask, who am I? And concludes wrongly, I am the body. So this intellectual conclusion is called Vishesha Abhimana. And it is this Vishesha Abhimana which we call Bandha or bondage. We must be very, very careful in understanding this, because many people think that identification with body, mind, sense complex, when we say, it means that I am the body, I am the body. It is the body is not the problem. Our conclusion that the body is, I am the body, is the problem from a Vedantic angle. So, Samanya Abhimana does not lead to bondage. It is natural. You can't avoid it. Whereas Vishesha Abhimana, the intellectual conclusion that I am the body, mind, sense complex, that is what is called bondage. And therefore, through self-knowledge, we are not aiming at removing Samanya Abhimana. We are only removing the intellectual conclusion that I am the body. That is why Shankaracharya uses the word matihi. Aham iti matihi. My intellectual conclusion. bandha bhavati. This false conclusion is called bondage, which alone we saw in the beginning as self misconception. Bandha. So atra anatmani ahamiti matihi, this intellectual conclusion that anatma is me is the bondage, bandha bhavati. And then the next sentence. Yeshaha asya pumsaha ajnanat praptaha. Yeshaha bandhaha. This misconception, this bondage. Ajnanat praptaha has come into existence because of ignorance. So, what is the cause for this ignorance? What is the cause for this misconception? The cause for misconception is self-ignorance. Since we really do not know what we really are, we misunderstand something which we are not as ourselves. So ajnanam is the cause for adhyasa or abhimana, which again, ignorance is an intellectual problem. Misconception is an intellectual problem arising out of ignorance, which is also an intellectual problem. And therefore he says, Yeshaha, this bondage, asya pumsaha, for this human being, ajnanat praptaha, born of ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of the previous two topics we discussed, Atma and Anatma, or Anatma and Atma in that sequence. That I am Atma, different from the body, mind, sense complex, that I use the body, but I am not the body. This is the correct intellectual conclusion. I use the mind, but I am not the mind. Body is not the problem. Using the body is not a problem. Concluding that I am the body is the problem. Similarly, mind is not a problem. Actually, mind is a blessing. Using the mind is also not a problem. In Yoga Shastra, they repeatedly talk about removing the thoughts. Nirvikalpa Samadhi, they talk about. Because Vedanta doesn't go into those areas because Vedanta is not interested in removing the thoughts. Vedanta says, let the mind be there, let the thoughts be there. Mind is not the problem. Using the mind is also not the problem. But concluding that I am the mind is the serious problem. Ajnanat, not knowing that the body and mind are only costumes given by Bhagavan for enjoying my glory. I should actually be indebted to the body because only when I am in the body, I can claim Aham Brahmasmi. And that is why Jivan Mukti is wonderful. In Videha Mukti, I will not be able to claim Aham Brahmasmi or I am the body. Because I would have become one with Ishvara. As Ishvara, I will be one with Brahman. So there is no need to claim that I am Brahman. So either there must be Ishvara Shariram or Jiva Shariram to claim that I am Brahman. If there is no body, I cannot claim I am Brahman. Body is a blessing as long as I use the body to claim my real nature. The moment I ignore that nature, then the body becomes a problem, a liability, and all problems of the body I superimpose upon myself. Adhyasa takes place. So, ajnanat praptah bandhah. in the next sentence, janana marana klesha sampata hetu. There we can add yeshaha. So yeshaha janana marana klesha sampata hetu. Once I conclude that I am the body, we are caught in the huge web of samsara. Because as I said, the body is associated with prarabdha karma. Once I claim I am a human being, an individual living being, I can never claim to be free because I am born with a huge baggage called prarabdha karma. I am given a free will, all right, but this free will is in constant battle with prarabdha karma every moment. It's like a boxing match. Lifelong, there is a boxing match between my free will and the prarabdham of the body. We can call it destiny free will boxing match. Right from the moment of the birth, this starts. If my body is fit and healthy body, thank God, prarabdha is favorable. If I have a congenital issues, prarabdha is unfavorable, and I have to start my life with a handicap. I should know how to accept those situations. So the prarabdha fight begins right from the birth. And this match between the prarabdha and the free will is a very, very unfair match also. Because prarabdha karma is invisible. Prarabdham is adrishtam. Prarabdham can see me. Me means my body, but I cannot see the prarabdha. It is like, that some movies and all come, Mr. India and all that. That person, he becomes invisible. So others cannot see him, but he can see everybody. Then the fight takes place and he always wins. So we do not know what is there in store for us in the prarabdha. What will happen tomorrow, the day after 20 years? Will I be healthy? What all diseases will come? Nothing I can know. This is like this ODI matches, one day matches, cricket match. One match, free will, I will win. Another match, the prarabdha will win. So life becomes a series of victories and failures. I can never predict which fight will I be victorious. Therefore, life begins with insecurity. It begins with anxiety. A life of unpredictability begins. And as we all know, unpredictability is always uncomfortable. In the corporate world also, in the top management and all, nobody wants unpredictability. Everybody wants predictable things only. Because if it is predictable, I can have control. What is unpredictable, I cannot use my free will to manage that. Therefore, we want everything to be predictable. Then alone we will feel comfortable, feel that we are in charge. Unpredictability leads to a feeling of uneasiness. And recently, a couple of years ago, we all experienced this, isn't it? During this COVID-19. We didn't know what it was about. When was it going to end? 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year? I mean, is there a permanent end, or it will go and again come back like it did? Speculations galore were there. Anybody could say anything. The fact was that nobody knew what would really happen. There was a situation where the whole world was tentative. And that was what made the mind so uncomfortable. Because of that, varieties of psychological problems increased. And these things cannot be avoided because as an individual, I have to fight the prarabdha. If I do not have free will, I don't need to fight the prarabdha at all. I will just accept it like what animals accept and live my life. But because Bhagavan has given the free will also, he has provided a way to fight the prarabdha. And what happens? Once I have an extended family, the ahankara extends to mamakara also. My spouses or children, their prarabdha karma begins to weigh on my mind. My daughter is 30 years old. When will she get married? Whom will she get married to? My son is 40 years. He doesn't have a job till now. Whatever job he takes, it lasts for a few months, a maximum year or two. Then something happens and then he is forced to quit the job. Then a period of uncertainty. Then one more job. Same story repeats. All prarabdha acting on that whole situation. Will he get a permanent job or not? All these types of thoughts about the extended family, children, leads to a lot of insecurity. Next generation, if we have grandchildren, then their prarabdha also we are worried about. Thus, a life of misery and security begins and lasts throughout our life. And the first type of insecurity is Janana Marana. As a physical body, I am subject to birth and death. Even though I am originally, as Gita says, na jayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana na hanyate hanyamane sharire. All this Bhagavad Gita talks I hear, lecture I hear, teachings I go through. Even though the Gita says that I transcend birth and death, that is not my conclusion. Because of my identification, Vishesha Abhimana with this body, mind, sense complex, I feel my understanding, I am born on so and so date. I celebrate my birthday every year. I cutting the cake and all that. I then enter Shashtiyabda Purti, that have big celebration. Enter Sadabhishekam, 80th year or 1,000 moons. And in these stages, a different kind of worry comes to me. Oh, I have reached this stage. What is going to be the condition of my health going forward? Already I have developed sugar problem, diabetes I have got. And the doctor is giving me a big prescription, don't do this and all that. It's not possible for me to do all those things the doctor says. Now, if I don't do all that, it's the doctor says, will it have an impact? Will I lose my eyesight? Will I lose my kidney? I've seen so many people, severe diabetes, they are in dialysis. Even my own guru, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, every second day he went through dialysis. All these worries completely cloud our intellect. Janana Marana, not only mine, death and separation from all of my near and dear ones also disturbs me. And klesha, all the in-between troubles or problems, that is birth, janana, marana, klesha, birth, death, and in-between problems. In all of them, sampataha, samyak pataha, I fall. Sampataha means fall. Either they fall on me or I fall into the huge ditch of birth, death, and in-between problems, born of insecurity. And if I identify with my stula shariram, I have to worry only about this janma. But if I am identified with sukshma shariram, I have to worry about the next janma also, because it's the same sukshma shariram I am going to carry forward to my next body, next janma. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. I have to be born again. I don't know what type of body will come. As Swami Paramatanda says, the biggest worry is if it is an animal body and I am born in China, finished. Whatever be the animal, I will be eaten. So, worry about this birth if I am Stula Sharira Abhimani, worry about next birth if I am Sukshma Sharira Abhimani, worry about next Srishti if I am Karana Sharira Abhimani. One worry or the other is constantly haunting me, all because of the intellectual problem. My worry is emotional, but the root cause is intellectual. Therefore, Janana Marana Klesha Sampata Hetuhu. Hetuhu means cause. So, this bondage is the cause of all insecurity. And that is why Shastra addresses the humanity. Oh, confused people, are you afraid of old age, disease, and death? Are you afraid of Yamadharma Raja? Actually, we will say, yes, yes, I am afraid. Then the Shastra asks, will Yamadharma Raja leave you just because you are scared of him? Whether you are scared or not, he is going to catch you. So fear is not going to solve any problem. And further Shastra says, if you interview Yamadharma Raja and ask him whom you will not catch, Yamadharma Raja will give you an answer, a beautiful answer. He will say, I cannot touch the one who is unborn, because Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. Whoever is born, only that person I can touch, and he will have to die. However advanced the medical science may become, how much soever our longevity may increase, it can only increase, it can never be eternity. Therefore, only one condition Yamadharma Raja will not touch me if I am Ajataha, unborn. Therefore, the direction of my approach should be to work for what? Birthlessness. And that is possible only by inquiring who am I. Then I will come to know that I am the Atma which is birthless. So then Yamadharma Raja can touch my body and all that, but he can't touch me because I am birthless, and he himself has said that he cannot touch who is not born. Mandukya Karika says, describes a person, the real nature, ajam, anidram, aswapnam, anamakam, arupam. Sakrit Vibhatam Sarvanyam Nopacharaha Katanchana. I am the ever-born Atma. So then, when I tell this to Yamadharmaraja, I can tell Yamadharmaraja, you can come. I'm no longer scared of you. You can't touch me. Want to take my body? Take it. So Yamadharmaraja also cannot kill your Atma. In fact, in our culture, Kala or Yamaraja is supposed to be the southern direction. He is supposed to be presided by Yamadharmaraja. And that's why Lord Dakshinamurti faces Yamadharmaraja, faces the south. If you see in all the temples, Dakshinamurti idol will be always facing the southern direction. In all the temples, the idols either mostly will be facing east or north. Only Dakshinamurti will be facing the southern, he faces the Yamadharmaraja. I am not afraid of you. And that is why, ironically, people don't do, in our culture, don't do anything facing south. Even Namaskara, they don't do facing south. So a jnani like Lord Dakshinamurti happily faces south, no worry. So I can show my thumb. When I am talking to Yamadharmaraja, I am facing the south only. I can show my thumb to Yamadharmaraja. You can take the body away. You cannot never take me away. Therefore, Janana Marana Klesha Sampata Hetuhu. Yena eva. Yena means Yena Bandena. Because of this bondage alone. This ignorant person. Idam Vapuhu Satyam iti Manyate. Manyate we can supply. Because of this bondage alone, this ignorant person takes this body to be a reality. Idam Vapuhu means this body. Vapuhu means body. And it includes all three. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. But for better understanding, we will take it as predominantly physical body. Idam Vapuhu Satyam iti Manyate. So the first wrong conclusion is body is real. We have earlier discussed that Maya has projected an unreal world which is similar to a dream when we discuss Karana Sharira, right? And the moment we enter this world and identify with that body, and become a part of the dream world, we become a dreamer identified with this body. So for a dreamer, a dream is not a dream in the dream. If you ask a dreamer whether his dream body is real or unreal, he will swear that his dream body is real, very much real. So he will conclude in the dream, not after he wakes up, in the dream, he will conclude that the dream world is real, the dream body is real, and everything that is happening in the dream is real. That will be his conclusion. Similarly, as long as we are in the spiritual sleep, until we have the spiritual awakening, we are going to falsely conclude that this body is Satyam. Therefore, idam vapuhu Satyam iti manyate. And even though it is asat, even though this body is mithya, which appears real due to self-ignorance. But it has to be understood as unreal. Unreal means experienceable, but its existence is borrowed from me. When I say the world is unreal, I do not stop to experience the world. I experience the world. A jnani also experiences the world. But he understands that the easiness of the world. And we say the world is. That easiness I have donated. Just as we donate existence to the dream world in a dream. Therefore, even though this body is asat or mithya, I take it as satyam, which is, you can call it blunder number 1. So, I am yena bandena idam asat vapuhu satyam iti manyate. And in the next sentence, the second blunder he commits is, he looks upon this body as himself. First mistake is body is satyam. Second big mistake is body is myself. Why is it a mistake? Because the moment I mistake the body as myself, all the problems of the body, mind become mine, which is a continuous fight with prarabdha, as we just now saw. Life this body, life of this body is a mixed bag. I am happy now, unhappy next moment. So if you see my biography, right from my birth, it has always been a mixed experience. A smiling face suddenly becomes a gloomy face, given to moods. Pujya Swamiji says, that is why they are called moodaha. Moody asya asti iti moodaha. Caught in emotional turmoil. So satyam iti manyate anantaram tena eva atma buddhya. Atma buddhi means mistaking this body as atma, which is called deha abhimana. And once the understanding is there, I am the body, then protecting, preserving the body, etc., all becomes top priority. And that's what he says, pushyati, ukshati, avati, vishayehi. Pushyati nourishes the body. At the physical body level, very particular about the looks of the body. How to care for every limb. My complexion. I'm not very happy. Go to some people who will change the complexion. I don't like the way the eyebrows are growing, so I go somewhere to do my eyebrows, hairstyle, even eyelids, nose. I don't like the shape of my nose. I go and change the shape of it. Teeth alignment. Every limb of the body, how to care. Books and books are there. And there are also enough parlors and parlors are there. So much attention to the body. And of course, there should be a nutritionist also, isn't it? To constantly find out what all food supplements I should take. By the time I am 40 or 50, I should switch over to supplements. Because all the nutrients from the food, my body will, doesn't have the ability to absorb them. So I have to fall back on supplements. I have to go for either a monthly master checkup, quarterly master checkup, and every master checkup, so many parameters, every minute parameters. And all these parameters, the doctors will extrapolate and say that, they may not say, but say that if you continue like this, there is a very serious chance of a coronary failure. After 15 years, you may get a heart attack. So now itself you start what food you should eat, what exercises you should do. So many diseases will be waiting. So the body itself becomes a source of, huge source of worry. Therefore, pushyati, nourishes the body with all care. Ukshati, ukshati means sprinkling water. Here sprinkling means cleansing the body. Not only with water, all kinds of lotions and perfumes also. You go to the dressing table, so many bottles, different colors, different shapes of bottles will be there. Not only women, men also. Very attractive, colorful bottles. Some may contain some lotion for the eyes, ears, nose, skin. Ukshati besmears the body with all kinds of things. And all this is to protect the body. A body which is controlled by three factors: Desha, Kala, and Prarabdha. Desha, place. If it's a polluted city, the body will react in one way. Kala, time. Seasons affect the body. Whenever there is a change of season, there is an impact on the body. And above all, Prarabdha affects the body. So there is a constant fight against these three factors. Each one is a struggle. Therefore, pushyati, ukshati, nourishes the body, takes care of the body, cleanses the body, and avati, tries to protect the body from all types of diseases. Even today, people are going around, we see many people going around with the masks which they were wearing 2 years ago. Continuously, they are so paranoid. Oh my God, some coronavirus may be lingering somewhere. I should wear a mask. I want to protect my body. I will take insurance also, not only medical insurance, some corona insurance. Somehow, the typical human mind is all the time anxious. So, pushyati, ukshati, avati. We want a perfect body all the time. And avati vishayahi, he says, vishayahi means with the help of so many objects, so many beings, so many doctors, so many food supplements, so many healthcare items, they are all put together as vishayahi. With the help of various things, we try to nourish and preserve this body. And Adi Shankara gives a nice example. He says this tendency to pushyati, ukshati, avati is like a silkworm trying to protect itself by weaving the silken thread around itself. Silkworm produces the silken thread and it weaves it around itself, thinking that that will protect it. Koshakridvat tantubihi. Koshakridvat. Koshakrid means a silkworm. Tantubihi means the silken thread which it produces. So the worm weaves around itself a cocoon, thinking that it will protect it, but often the very cocoon becomes its nemesis, cause for its destruction. Because the silk is a very valuable thing for humans. Dangerous human beings are in wait. They want to extract the silk without breaking it. They want the silk, as a complete thread. So if the silkworm comes out of the cocoon alive, the silk thread will break. So to get the unbroken thread, the worm must be killed inside the cocoon. And they say, because I don't know, I've not seen this process, millions of silkworms are dropped in boiling cauldron of water, killed instantaneously. Mahahimsa they do. Then they take out the silk and make beautiful silken clothes, Kanchipuram saris, etc., which we wear, enjoy, and show off. So what was sought to be its protection becomes its very enemy for the silkworm. Similarly, many things we do, we think in self-protection, and often these things they themselves cause the problem and diseases. I mean, we are coming to see, all these kind of cosmetics and all which people are using. They are causing different kinds of diseases, especially skin-related diseases. Therefore, tantubihi koshakridvat. Tantubihi, like the thread, koshakrid, as I said, is a silkworm. Just as the silkworm tries to protect itself with the help of the thread, similarly, human beings struggle to protect the body with various things. But the body can never be protected. It is intrinsically insecure, subject to decay. A Jnani understands that. Not that he ignores his health, but he understands that the body is subject to diseases, old age, and death. That he understands. He accepts that as a fact. And as Krishna says in the Gita, Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payino nityaha tam stitikshasva bharata. So once you understand the limitations of the body, that it is going to decay, it is going to be a victim of diseases as you keep on aging. Let us go through with all those things with objectivity, intellectually standing aloof. And that is only possible if I know I am not the body, but I am only the user of the body. In reality, I am someone different who is immortal. Not knowing this fact, a human being is permanently, as I said, paranoid. And this is called samsara. This is the definition of bondage. Deha abhimanaha, or bodily identification. Intellectual conclusion that I am the body is samsara. And it makes me a jivatma. So with this, the three questions have been answered. Now we will go into the fourth question. We have seen what the bondage is. So the fourth question was Katham Yesha Agataha. How is this bondage? How does this bondage come? We will read verse number 40. Akhanda Nityadvaya Bodha Shaktya Purantamatmanam Ananta Vaibhavam Samavrinottya Vriti Shakti Resha Tamomayi Rahurivarka Bimbam. The Anvaya is Esha Tamomayi Avriti Shakti Akhanda Nitya Advaya Bodha Shaktya Spurantam Ananta Vaibhavam Atmanam Arkabimbam Iva Samavrinoti. The word meanings are Esha, this, Tamomayi, consisting of tamas predominantly, Avriti Shaktihi, the power of covering, wheeling, Akhanda Nitya Advaya Bodha Shaktya, with the power of the indivisible, non-dual awareness, which is not subject to beginning and end. Akanda Nitya, Spurantam, shining, Ananta Vaibhavam, limitless and all pervasive, Atmanam, the self, Rahu, Arkabhimbam, covers the disk, Iva, like disk of the sun. Arkabhimba means covers the disk of the sun, Iva, like Samavranoti, covers. Another nice example he gives. So this Maya's power of wheeling, what we saw, Avrana Shakti. These are two powers, Vikshepa Shakti and Avrana Shakti. So this power of wheeling, which consists predominantly of Tamoguna, covers this Atma as though covers his Atma that is shining with the power of the invisible non-dual awareness, which is without beginning and end, as even Rahu covers the disk of the sun. During the, that's the belief, no, during eclipse, that's what happens. So the fourth question which is taken up for answer is Katam Esha Agataha. Here the word Esha refers to Bandha of the previous sloka, bondage. How has the human bondage come into existence? What is the diagnosis? Because if we know that, we can take remedial measures. And that is going to be answered in these verses. Again, all are very, very important verses for a serious seeker, a serious mumukshu and jigyasu. We are diving deeper and deeper into the Vedanta ocean. So all of you be prepared. It's intellectually taxing, but it's knowledge which we don't have. And any knowledge when we acquire, it gives us a sense of happiness, isn't it? Even when we are solving a crossword puzzle, if there is a very difficult clue and we are able to crack it, how happy we feel. So a knowledge is always a happiness-giving thing. And this is the knowledge that we are gaining, which we don't even have an idea that such a knowledge exists. So before we get into this sloka, we need to recall some discussions we had in the context of Karana Shariram. If you recall, Karana Shariram was given different names, Shakti, Avyaktam, Maya, Avidya, etc. Then we also saw that this Avidya has got Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti, the wheeling or covering power and the projecting power. And we also saw that Bhagavan uses Vikshepa Shakti of Maya to create this universe, or to be precise, to project this universe, that is at the macro level. Now we have come down to the individual living being at the micro level. And here we are going to talk about the function of both Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. Avarana Shakti is functional in the individual Karana Shariram. Therefore, this Avarana Shakti becomes active. And because of that, the individual does not know his real nature. And it is this Avarana Shakti which expresses itself as self-ignorance, concealing my real nature as Atma, eternal Atma. And once this Avarana Shakti covers my real nature, the Vikshepa Shakti takes over. Ignorance leads to false conclusions or mistakes or misconceptions. And this mistake is caused by Vikshepa Shakti. And all other consequences which follow are also caused by the Vikshepa Shakti. We'll stop here. and continue in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
Dhanyawad.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
धन्यवाद
Thank
गुरुजी.
you, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you. Yes, Sulekha ji, what's your question?
I have two questions, Guruji. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Um, on the point of Avarana Shakti, can we consider similar to the metaphor that you gave of a cocoon, that Avarana Shakti is like a cocoon that covers our body-mind complex?
Well, not exactly, because the cocoon example was given in the context of mistakenly believing that cocoon will actually protect me.
Hmm.
That's different thing. Avarana Shakti is, in fact, if you look at a magician, what he does both Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. First of all, he will take one pigeon or some kerchief or piece of cloth and show you that this is a piece of cloth, right? Then he uses the Avarana Shakti for you to actually cover that understanding that this is a piece of cloth. So at that time, even though you are seeing the cloth, he does things in such a quick manner that he will make it, he uses the Vikshepa Shakti, a projecting power, to project that piece of cloth as some bunch of roses. He does it so fast. So when you are seeing that he has taken out a kerchief and he is now showing and making it a bunch of roses, he uses both. Still the kerchief only he is holding. The kerchief is very much there. But he makes it appear as a bunch of roses. And the next moment, he will make the bunch of roses disappear and bring back the kerchief rather. So he uses this Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. What is real, I mean, relatively real, he makes you blind to that. And what is not real, he makes you see that and believe it to be real. So this is exactly what the Avarana Shakti and which, because the reality is I am the Atma, I am the pure consciousness. Now this Avarana Shakti, what it does, it makes me blind to that reality, to that fact. But if that makes me blind, then I'll be in darkness. So what it does, Maya, it will project the body, mind, sense complex. So when I see the body, mind, sense complex, oh, I am this body, mind, sense complex, I come to that conclusion. Wrong conclusion, because original fact, reality is I am not the body, mind, sense complex. I am only a boarder or an occupant or a tenant of this body, mind, sense complex, which I actually ignore that fact. Why do I ignore? Because of this Avarana Shakti, because of this covering power or veiling power. So many people in India, especially, you may not be aware of it. If somebody stays in a rented house for a long period of some 20 years, he will consider it as his own house. Right? And even the landlord comes to vacate, he will not vacate. And even many cases, the law will give protection to the tenant, not to the landlord. So many issues are there. So that is again Avarana Shakti. Having lived in that house for so long, he takes the house as his own. Similarly, we having us Atma living in this body for so many years, we take this body as ourselves. And that is why all the problems which the body attracts, we feel that I am suffering all those consequences. So what is
Thank you, Guruji.
intellectual separation, rather. That's all. You can't physically separate, intellectual separation.
And on that point, then, the intellectual separation, the development of the intellect, the not searching for knowledge, but the query for knowledge or self-inquiry is what will help to remove that avarana shakti slowly, slowly.
Yes. Vikshepa Shakti you cannot remove. But Avarana Shakti you can remove, because Avarana Shakti has caused the ignorance. You remove the Avarana Shakti, ignorance will go. And the knowledge which is already there, that I am the Atma, I am the consciousness, is already there. That knowledge has been covered. You remove that covering, the knowledge will automatically come up. It is, again I say, it is not that we don't know that I am consciousness, that I am Atma. Because in many of our expressions, that is the implied, what we imply. When we say this is my body, what does that my stand for? My stands for the Atma only. When I am saying this is my body, what I am meaning is, I am different from this body. I am somebody else from this body, isn't it? When I just like I say, this is my glasses, right? Or this is my phone. When I say this is my phone, I am very clear that this phone is not me. Similarly, when I say this is my body, I am very clear that I am not this body. But what happens, because of this Avarana Shakti, I end up in the conclusion that I am the body. So that is
So
how.
can I?
Yeah.
May I ask one more question?
Please go ahead.
On that note, the myness or this me mistakenly thinking it's our body and mind complex is what we are. Does our subconscious already know, as you mentioned, that the Atma already knows when we use certain words like this is my body, that we already internally somewhere know that we are not this body-mind complex, that internally there is a knowledge there, but it has not yet been accessed or brought to the surface.
Yes.
And so bringing it to the surface is that process of, I just wrote it down, is the process of self-knowledge, is the process of developing that intellectual capacity or refining that capacity to understand, not just say it, but to actually understand that we are not this. And then the words that we use and choose, which then also becomes our behaviors and our actions, slowly intellectually detach ourselves from this idea that we are only this jiva.
Because consciousness, the nature of consciousness is knowledge. So that knowledge that I am consciousness is already there. It is nothing new we are gaining through all these studies. All these studies, Vedanta studies, are only helping us to remove the misconception that we have developed due to that knowledge, due to our being ignorant of that existence of that knowledge which is already there. So it is just like, there is a sun is shining, then huge dark clouds come and cover the sun. The whole place becomes dark. And suppose at that time we say, no, this is night. without understanding that it is a temporary thing. It's only the dark clouds that covered the sun. Once the wind of knowledge or wind of these studies blows, these dark clouds will go away. Even when the dark clouds were there, the sun was already there shining as usual. Similarly, this knowledge, that is why we say consciousness is bhasati, it shines on its own, right? And in the Shastra gives the example of the sun and clouds rather. So that knowledge is already there, but because of our, this avarana shakti of Maya, that knowledge is as though covered. So we have to remove that cover, that's all. Through all Upanishad, Gita study, everything, all we are trying to do is remove that. That's all.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you. So well explained. Thank you very much. Hari Om.
Thank you. Yes, Sitaramji.
What, if I have understood, by removing the avaranam which is covering your intellect, the Vikshepa Shakti enhances and comes into the fore. Is that right?
Vikshepa Shakti is always there.
It becomes more visible, prominent, and helps
Yes,
you.
I mean, you are able to identify what is this Vikshepa Shakti doing. It is because of the Vikshepa Shakti that this body, mind, sense complex is projected.
Yeah.
So when the Avarana Shakti is removed, you are able to understand that this body, mind, sense complex is only a projection. There is no reality attached to it. All along, we have been watching a movie and taking all the characters in the movie as real. In fact, there are people, who actually do that. They will get so much involved with the characters in the movie, they will cry. Even in South and all that, if some god, somebody, I'm told that when N.T. Ramarao and all that used to come as Krishna and all, people will do arati to the screen and all that as if real Krishna has come. The Avarana Shakti is so much that they don't know that this is a projection. Then you take them to the projector room, tell them, oh, see, this is the projector, this is the film, this is what you are seeing there. That is exactly what Upanishads do. They are taking us to the projection room, showing us that this is a film, all this world, that you are taking it as real and emotionally getting entangled with all this world and suffering in the consequence. This is all a projection only.
So basically, you clean up the mirror and show your real self.
Clean up the mirror, or you switch off the projector's light, or whatever. Then you see the screen, the white screen, which was there originally before the show started, isn't it? That is how the whole process works. Then you will know, yes, that is what is the spiritual awakening. When you are awakened spiritually, it is not that you are going to move out, go out of this body and somewhere else and all. Body, mind, still the prarabdha is there. This body will separate journey, it will continue. But what you do intellectually, you are detaching yourself from that. I mean, the Puja Swamiji gives a nice example of a pauper and who discovers that he's actually a prince. I mean, we have got these old filmy stories, young prince got kidnapped and goes with this, all these, what is called, from place to place.
The nomads.
Nomads and all. Then one fine day, somebody comes and he has got some birthmark somewhere. So he sees that, oh, you are the lost prince. Now, after coming to know that he is the lost prince and then his right place is in the palace, he has to take charge of this kingdom. Will he continue his life as a nomad and going and begging and doing all this strict? He will not abandon the people with whom he has been there, who have actually brought him up. his people and all. But his dealing with those people will now be different. As a prince, as a king, or a king, who is going to be anointed as a king, that will be different. Relationship will still remain. But he will realize that I am not a pauper, I am not a poor guy, I am actually a prince. This entire country is mine. I am not restricted only to this tribe with whom I have been roaming around since childhood. That is how we have to, that is what will happen. Once you realize that you are actually the king, the prince, the Atma, not that you are going to cut your relationships and things like that, your entire vision toward the world will become different rather. You will still be in the world, but with a different vision, different approach, different attitude. That's what happens. And it is a very wonderful, that is what Krishna calls in Bhagavad Gita as samatvam, 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 yoga uchyate. He says, from a very parochial attitude, my family, my tribe, my community, my country, all that you will actually transcend, and you will see the entire world, as Modi ji often says, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And that is a separate joy in itself, rather. I mean, that once you are identifying with yourself with the entire world, you are breaking all barriers, doing away with everything. Everything, everybody is mine. I am everybody's. They are all nothing but my own creation, rather. Aham Brahmasmi, and Brahman with Maya is what has created or projected this whole world. So they are all my projection only. I have ownership with them. So I have got that nexus with everybody, not just one set of parents or one set of children, like that. So that is what is called transcending the body, mind, sense. That's what is the real crux of the entire Vedanta study. Okay.
Thank you. Hari Om. Well, it's a very tough thing to.
No, thinking. You have to think rather.
No,
You have to contemplate on this, and you have to actually keep asking questions yourself and trying to find the answer.
The transformation is a process which is
it's a
pretty
process.
hard.
It will take time. It is not that today you listen to one class, tomorrow you are going to become a jnani. No. And it has got a lot of other things that you have to do. You have to increase your sattva guna. Because most of us, we are having predominance of rajoguna. We have to decrease the rajoguna aspect and increase the sattva guna aspect. Sattva guna is what? Knowledge oriented guna rather. That is the personality which will promote knowledge, which will help you to gain the knowledge. So for that, you have to do all the other subsidiary sadhanas and all that for that. So this entire spiritual journey is not something like you are sitting in a boat, lying down on high seas, and the water is taking you. No, you have to do a lot of work if you are serious about it.
Well, it's already 4 years now.
Yeah, doesn't matter, but you should yourself think. You should yourself question, has this 4 years made any difference to the way I approach things, the way I understand things? Has it even made a 5% difference, 1% difference? If it has made, means it is working. If it has not made any difference, then you are wasting your time only. And you should say, okay, it's not for me. But it will take time, I can tell you, it will take time. Suppose we do reach a very higher stage in this life, then we don't reach that complete knowledge doesn't come, or assimilation of that knowledge doesn't come. Maybe our next life, it will be the period of this reaching that stage will be much shorter. Like Adi Shankara, when he was 15, 16 years old, he was a jnani. Why? Because in the previous birth and all, he has brought all those things, everything has been there. So in this birth, he required only that small period of 15, 16 years to sort of revise what all he had learned earlier and become a jnani. Ramana Maharshi, another example. We call them prodigy and all that. Nobody is a prodigy. Everybody is a carried forward only. Isn't it? Yesterday, somebody sent me one video. It's not a video, it was a news item. One small boy, 6 or 7 years old, in Guruvayur temple, he recited the entire Bhagavad Gita and he was actually explaining every shloka in a masterly fashion. This happened in Guruvayur temple. Somebody has videoed, but this gentleman sent me the news item. Is a child prodigy. I said, no, child prodigy is a good word you can use, but what did the 6 or 7 year old boy go to any guru in this Janma and learn the entire Bhagavad Gita so that he can recite that Bhagavad Gita without 700 slokas, without any aid, and also explain the meanings? I mean, there is no history that in this life that boy has done all these things. How did he get it? How was he able to do all those things? So the point is that as we progress, and in one of the earlier talks, I said sometimes it could take janmas, not one birth, few births for us to reach that stage. But as long as the journey is continuing, whether it will be a slow journey or fast journey, we must have the confidence that we will reach there one day. And that day will be the end of all your miseries which you have suffered throughout the last hundreds of births in different bodies, in different places you might have born. Lucky that we don't remember all that. Otherwise, that itself will be another problem for us. Remembering, oh, I was like that, I was like this fellow did this to me. In this life itself, we are not able to digest those things. If suppose we are able to recall what happened to us in the previous birth and all, our life will be totally spoiled, ruined. So Bhagavan has been very, very grateful, or he has blessed us by not making us remember all the past births. That is how we have to continue this journey. And Vedanta is constantly, the only measure Vedanta, you can say whether you are making progress or not, your own assessment. Self-assessment is the only way. No guru can tell you, nobody else can tell you whether you are making progress. Your family also may not be able to tell you, and it is not going to happen on a single day. In fact, suppose the 100% problem is there, 1% improvement has happened. You will know there is 1% of improvement. But people around you will only see the 99% which has not improved. And they will curse Vedanta, they will curse your Gita classes, you are wasting your time, nothing has happened and all that. You know that 1% improvement has taken place. And that could be a very simple improvement. Earlier, if you see a cockroach, you would have taken some broom or some chappal to kill it. Now you don't do it. You say, oh, that is also a jiva, right? All I will do is I will actually take that cockroach in some bag or something. And then go out and leave it. I will not take that life. Similarly, mosquitoes. I will not kill a mosquito. I will protect myself from the mosquitoes with the mosquito net and what all things are there. But I will not kill the mosquito. Even if this one non-violent attitude changes come towards this thing, that is an improvement which your people around you may not be able to appreciate, realize also that improvement is coming. So it's a constant self-assessment. My today should be slightly better than my yesterday. That's all. So this is how the spiritual journey we have to continue. Everything will not happen overnight. This knowledge will not come overnight. We have to study all these Upanishads, everything, because something which is told to us again and again and again It is just like you are called Sita Ram. Everybody, right from birth, we are calling you Sita Ram. Suppose tomorrow I am your guru, I am going to tell you, now from tomorrow onwards, I am going to call you Chaitanya. Right? Now, if somebody, you are going on the road or somebody calls you Chaitanya, will you answer? No. But suppose constantly you are called Chaitanya, 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 Chaitanya for the next 2 years. Then you will forget that you were once called Sita Ram and you will be called Chaitanya. You will answer to the call of Chaitanya. It will takes time. Takes time for us to get out of the orientation which we are already used to. And it is not impossible. It can happen. Consciously, one has to work towards it. That's all. Okay. Chalo. We will close the session and continue next class. Hari Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Guruji. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you.